Welcome, everyone, to episode 8 of the Motorsport Show. With me, Gerald McDornan.
Hey.
I got my mate over here, Phil Brannigan, on the far left.
Gerald.
Philip, good to have you here.
Thanks, Gerald. You know how you said nothing would ever come between us if we did this show together?
Something has come between us.
Something has.
Oh, mate. Our first ever guest on the Motorsport Show. Couldn't be any better than Supercars race winner, the Gold Coast 600 race winner, no less. Third generation racer and a great mate of mine, Jack Perkins. Welcome, Jackson.
Thank you very much, Gerald, and it's good to be the first guest. That's pretty cool, guys. Thanks for having me, Phil. And I've known you guys since I was a real young boy, so to now be on a TV show with you is pretty cool.
Don't say that.
Well,
makes us feel old. Makes me feel old, not him.
Yeah, well, yeah. You're only as young as the woman you feel, and you're going okay, Jackson?
I am. I'm going very well, thanks, Gerald.
Mate, no, it is really good to have you here. Of course, for those that don't know, Jack is this year running with Walkinshaw Andretti United again in the Supercars Endurance Series, the Pertec Endurance Cup with James Courtney.
How many years in a row, Jay?
So it's 5 years.
Golly.
And to be honest, I did the first two races with Russell Ingall because James was injured.
Yeah.
But it's effectively 5-year relationship with James, and that is the longest relationship I've had with anyone, girl or boy. So that's interesting.
Hang on a second. Are we going into places you might not want to talk about? Just what kind of relationship do you have with James Courtney?
No, I'm just talking in general. But in driving terms,
that's not what he said earlier.
In driving terms and team terms, it's even longer than I've been involved with Dad's team. So
that's good.
It's really cool. I'm proud of that. And
bet it almost ended after the first two races.
Yeah, we don't need to go into that. No. But looking forward to it. Obviously, the team hasn't had the best start to the year, but to be with James, who's one of the pick of the drivers in the category for mine, it's great, and we're really good friends, and I tell you what, Bathurst is only, I think someone said, less than 8 weeks away.
Or three race meetings away, isn't it?
It's sneaking up, and to be the first Enduro this year, it's
no warm-ups.
A bit of a strange feeling.
It is a bit, isn't it?
It is really strange.
I reckon they got it wrong, actually, in doing that, but we'll see. It's certainly going to throw everyone to the wolves straight away, and you're going to see who the good guys are straight out of the box.
And that's part where the combination of the experience of the team steps in, Jack, because the first time you'll drive the car in anger will be on Mountain Straight in practice.
That's exactly right. And to be honest, it doesn't actually daunt me. Now I'm experienced enough where I'm not that phased about it, but I'm sure there would be a couple of drivers that are maybe a bit daunted by that. But then you look at the top teams and the top combinations, they've all got experienced runners. So look, I don't think by the time the race gets around, everyone will have their eye in, but it's certainly, it's just different, I think, from a historical point of view. Sandown is the traditional warm-up, and to have that in November is just strange. Especially
Mountain Straight, mate. You'd know. Anyway, we'll get to that.
Well, yeah. Fabulous, though, that you've just jumped in here. You between races, because you do the Enduros now and a bit of Super 2, but a lot of media work. And, Phil, the great thing about Jack is it started at a young age in the media.
He did. He started... I can't remember. What was the first media appearance you remember seeing him, Gerald?
Well, when you have a dad that's been in Formula One, you get to meet all of the famous people. And, Robbie, I think we've got the first clip of Jack that we ever saw on the TV.
Feeling.
I knew this was going to be a stitch-up. That's me on Jerry Maguire. It's a good-looking kid.
Ray, the zoo, fucking zoo's closed, right?
You said fuck.
Do you remember that?
I do.
How is Scientology, by the way?
It's interesting. I knew you guys were going to stitch me up with something. That's good though.
No,
we haven't started yet.
Not everyone. A lot of people saw that. Very, very famous movie, that one.
That went around the world.
There was a better role that you were known for.
Yeah, locally.
The Milky Bar Kid is tough and strong. Milky Bar Kid just can't go wrong. Milky Bar Kid only eats what's right. Milky Bar, it's sweet and white.
The Milky Bars are on me.
I'll have you know that I won many a Milky Bar Kid lookalike competitions as a kid, actually. So that's the original ad. That's quite good, isn't it?
Have you still got the hat?
Oh, mate.
I've got the pistol. I think it was a spud gun. That's great. I knew you boys would stitch me up.
Oh, you got
What's
fine.
next?
Very good.
What's next?
Oh, who can say, Jackson? Who can say?
Well, the Perkins name is synonymous with Bathurst. Your dad, 6-time winner. And we'll never forget this classic moment, one of the greatest moments, one of the best debuts ever.
Russell Ingall and Seaton in the top 10 as well. Scaife is in the wall. Scaife's day is done. Mark Scaife has hit the wall.
Wow. There's been something
Get up
happen.
the arse like you could not believe.
Something's happened.
It was and it's the 11, it's the young man, Jack Perkins. And Shane Price.
Well, I say that jokingly, of course. But
Gerald, that's the day I got 10,000 Ford fans to follow me for life, mate. That's good memories for some Ford fans.
oh, we've both done the same thing. Not,
Gerald,
Yeah.
I don't-
Inside joke, folks.
do you want to go to Austin, Texas, 2013? Or
well, it was
not
your.
running the
Well,
rundown?
Let's go to the
well,
video, Rob.
It was. Page
No,
3
there's
of
no,
the
video,
Age.
there's no
mate.
video of that. And for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, good.
Page 3 of the Age. Go back and have a look.
Yeah, that's right.
Uh,
Anyway, and look, the important thing was that wasn't your fault. That wasn't. And that
No, it wasn't.
nobody was hurt.
Exactly right. It's just not the way you want your first Bathurst to go. I didn't think
No.
I'd be drinking our sponsor's product, the Jack Daniels, by lunchtime that day. But that's what happened. That's all in the past now. Hopefully, I've got through a fair few more Bathursts since then. But
And you two guys go way back, don't you? You got all sorts of history together.
yeah.
Wow.
Well, we've been
We
mates
do.
for a long time, and
look at that rig on the
yeah, there we
shirt
go.
off.
Who's that skinny
Now,
guy
there's-
in the red shirt?
Yeah, there's a couple. On the left is we're at the Vermont Footy Club.
Mighty
The Mighty
Vermont
Vermont
Eagles.
Eagles.
Yep.
And there's Leafy in the background. Down the bottom, just before you went off with Star Wars in 2015, you're about to jump in the car about 2 seconds later. And then that other one, I think that's after you knocked Scafey out. We're just watching a replay, actually, back in
Could've been.
2006.
We'd both kill for those bodies these days, Gerald, wouldn't we?
Well, hang on. You're supposed to be fit because your race day at Bathurst is going to be a lot more physically tiring than ours.
Yeah, well, hopefully it's more physically tiring than 2006
Yeah.
too, Phil. That lasted 200 metres. But no, I think we've both aged a bit.
Oh, mate.
Hey, now, I reckon...
You reckon you've aged? Jesus
You didn't have a photo, and I actually don't reckon I've seen many photos since. But you were there the first day I drove a go-kart. And my sister
I
drove
was so.
at Oakley go-kart track.
I almost killed myself having to run around the joint and push it back on the track.
Yeah, so we were at Oakley go-kart track,
Yep.
and we've turned up, my sister and I, to have a drive, and you guys were there doing motorsport news.
Motorsport news, yeah. Tony Glenn and I rocked out there.
We'll never get those photos.
No. Tony Glenn and I, so your dad, yourself, Nicola, and was it Dave Serra, James Serra?
Dave Sears' dad,
Dave-
George.
George
Yeah.
Serra.
Yep.
And Tony Glenn and myself. And, yeah, spent half the day running around pushing you back on the bloody track. So,
We can go out there again if you want to do some running around, Gerald.
oh, well, yeah.
You're going to push him back on the track. That would finish you off now. Just about.
I was doing some park runs last year, some 5Ks.
Okay.
I need to go back and do
You
them
might
again.
have to. Yeah. He doesn't.
No,
want
but we've been good. We've been good mates for a long time, and thrilled to see Jack, of course, when he won up at the Gold Coast, Phil. It was
Yeah.
one of the great things, and
hanging on the fence.
to see the reaction. I couldn't be bothered downloading the vision for that, but to see the reaction, what it meant to be a race winner,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
to one of the toughest races of the year as well.
And nobody backed into it. That was well deserved that weekend.
Absolutely, and to see Jack achieve that, and he's won races in Super 2 and
In fact,
and
I
all
reckon
of that
you,
sort of
you
stuff.
carried Courtney that day. You made him look good.
Well, to be honest, if I need to thank anyone, it's the team for that day. We had a good strategy, but it was reward. We may not have won the race on outright car speed, but it was a reward from all those days where I feel like we had race winning drives and performances where we weren't given the trophy we thought we deserved. So no, yeah, that's the realisation of a childhood dream. It's still, when I watch the replay back, I've still got it saved on the hard drive. Actually,
Good.
I have great memories of that, and the surfboard trophies make it even cooler.
And as does the souvenir T-shirt. The only driver in the history of supercars that's printed a limited edition souvenir T-shirt and handed out to all of the friends and team and sponsors and the like. And I still have mine tucked away in the drawer.
Did I ever tell you the story why I did that?
No.
So in 2008, I went over with the dude Morris to America, and we did a NASCAR race, or Paul did, and
was that Sonoma?
Sonoma, yeah.
Yep.
And Paul raced in the NASCAR Winston West, I think
Yep.
it was called, K&N West Series. And I spotted for him, and that's a whole nother episode of stories. We had a great trip, but part of it was Brad Keselowski was driving for Junior Motorsports, and he just won his first nationwide NASCAR race, and he got a first win T-shirt made. I thought, well, that's cool. If I ever do that, I'm gonna do that, make a T-shirt. And I, nearly 8 or 9 years later, I got a chance to do it, and I invested in it and did it, and got the guys in America who made all the sprint car and NASCAR T-shirts to do it. And yeah, it was a cool thing to do, because you're never going to have another first win. And I remember guys like Alan Kulwicki, and the NASCAR guy, his first win, he did a Polish victory lap going the wrong way around. He goes, well, you're never going to be able to celebrate a first win again, so do something, I guess, not that different, but it was cool to do, and I wear the T-shirt every now and again.
So Australian T-shirts aren't good enough for you? Is that what you're saying?
No, but the guys actually...
No, it's a great gesture, I'm only joking.
But the thing about it, Phil, is that the guys actually are right into it. They produce the artwork motorsport style. It's racer style, and it's not F1. It's we like fast, loud cars, and
true.
That's what it's all about. So, we should say we've got people on Facebook sending us questions. It's great to have your company, everyone out there. And we've got the dude, Ask Jack about the coffee table book tour.
Oh,
that's a great story. Am I allowed to talk about it? I suppose he's asked the question.
Why not?
We had it was a great trip with Paul around America, and we had this interest in tattoos, in particular tattoos that were on the North Carolina. How do you say it? North Carolina.
Yep.
The females, and Paul and I made a coffee table book on all the various tattoos we saw over there. So it's a fantastic. Well, it's not a read because it's a picture book, but it's a really nice addition to the coffee table.
good.
It was a great trip.
And does it have the little coffee table legs that come out of the bottom like the Kramer one on Seinfeld?
The coffee table book about coffee tables.
It turns into a coffee table.
Not quite that one, but it's
Right.
similar.
Well, it's good. If you've got any questions for Jack, by the way, feel free. Send them in. We'll ask the questions.
We'll answer them.
We won't let him go until he answers.
And Adam Ward, g'day guys. It's Adam here from the Pod Filter podcast. Just want to say we love your show. Thank you, Adam. And,
Thanks, Adam.
I'll make sure that I listen to yours next before we come back on. Hey guys, and Jack Perkins, Adam Keating, Scott Hallinan. The show's been hijacked. Yes, it has. And
like that.
I see what you've done
Yeah.
there.
That's impressive.
yep, Frankie Lane. I love Peter Brock. Well, we all did.
Yeah,
And Peter Brock loved people as well.
good.
Now we talk about actually. Will we throw it in there? Yeah, I'll give you your dues. You got to. He's kicked a goal on the racetrack, and one of the great things is going to the footy with Jack. And one day we did go to the mighty Vermont Eagles, which is my local club that I've been at for 39 years this year. And,
You're a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, no.
Hall of
Legend status.
Shamer.
No.
Legend status.
37 years as a supporter and 2 as a player. And I did tell Jack, Phil, about how I dobbed one from past the centre when we played East Ringwood in 1982.
You've told everybody that, Gerald.
And
Hasn't
Have
What?
you got the tattoo?
anyway, so Jack said, come on, let's go out and have a kick. We're going to kick for goal. We're crushing beers. And Robbie, let's roll. Here we go.
This is me.
From the 40.
50.
That's 40.
That's straight through the middle, Gerald.
Yeah. Oh, look at that.
Pretty happy about that.
Yeah, he was rather. and I wore the wrong shoes. That's all I can say.
No, he started.
He was wearing Manolo Blahniks
I'd
at
had
the time.
5,000 beers. I wore the wrong shoes. I had my jeans on. Look at the style.
Gerald, it hasn't made the distance, and it'd be lucky to be a point. And
But-
I'll let you know about it too.
and he's dropped the jack.
Jack's mum wasn't
Let's
happy
watch
about that.
again. What's that? Off to the right.
You're not a bad kick. Yeah, look, here we go.
I had to let you know that I got mine in. I got 6 points, and you got nothing.
Rails wasn't too happy when she saw me dump you on your head, though.
Nah, but it looks a bit more violent than it was. But it's good. It's a good day going out to the footy with Gerald. He is a. Don't undersell yourself. You're a bit of a legend out there at the mighty Vermont Eagles, who are on top of the ladder at the moment.
Oh, killing them. Killing them.
Going well.
Uber
Going
at
very,
home, do we?
Well, we're going very good. We're on top. Hey?
Uber at home?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
good.
do.
Good. That's always a good idea.
Now, tonight's show.
Oh,
We've got plenty on. We're actually going to talk a lot more motorsport tonight. And, there's a bit going on around the place. There's been a lot of racing in the past 2 weeks. A lot of racing. But the big one, V8 supercars that we raced at Ipswich, we'll talk about that later on. But since Ipswich, Phillip,
Yep.
they cannot help themselves.
Yep.
In the closest season yet, closest parity ever for cars, parity adjustment number 5.
Is it 5? Is
5.
it 4.5 or is it 5?
5.
It's 5.
It's got to be 5.
Okay. And this one's on the Nissans.
On the Datsuns. And so the big news in the last couple of days is that they've shortened the under tray and raised the gurney flap on the rear wing for the Datsuns to give the cars a little bit more balance. It's the 5th adjustment this year after they initially said the cars were the closest they've ever got in history. And it rather makes a bit of a joke about it, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you can't look at the results and sort of say that the cars are that even. With respect to teams who are doing good jobs, don't get me wrong. But yeah, it's unfortunately hasn't really played out that well, has it? Going to a two-door car and just getting that parity thing hasn't really equated to what they really. But to be honest,
and the Datsun, it's what are we into? Its 7th season or so? 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 7th season.
So you've raced against the Nissans. You've raced against.
You've driven one, haven't
you? Places like Bathurst. Where
I haven't driven.
Haven't you driven one?
No.
So the most recent Commodore last year, slippery at Bathurst. What's your impression of following them around? Where are they strong, and what might this do to the cars?
The last time I followed a Nissan properly, I remember. I think I must have been racing against Todd Kelly at Phillip Island.
Yeah.
And I remember they used to always have the biggest wing, and the drivers used to joke about not wanting to follow a Nissan because the wash behind that was impossible to follow.
Right.
And I remember watching him through the last corner, he could just carry more speed because they had more rear downforce, more rear grip. But since then, obviously, the cars have changed a little bit. But I think what they've done, I believe they lowered their rear gurney over the off-season on the Nissan, and they've just lost their balance of the car. So they've struggled this year. Rick Kelly was competitive last year.
Yeah.
And as was Michael Caruso.
As Caruso, yeah.
So they've detuned their car, and it's obviously come up to be the even as a Mustang on the aero test, but clearly on the racetrack.
Yeah, and yet there've been moments, because Heimgartner was on the podium at Phillip Island, the fast circuit, and he was threatening to go on the podium again on the Sunday race.
Yeah.
And he didn't back into those results. The thing was quick all weekend.
No, and you're right, and a bit of that might be those linear spring adjustments.
Yeah.
But from what I understand, Nissan weren't really running twin springs.
No.
So I don't know if that's been the big drama for them, but I think they've been probably the victim of being the first team to introduce a new model. They didn't get the chance to hot up the headlight shape and do anything. They started with the principles that these cars in front of us were, let's fit the road car headlight, let's fit the road car tail light, let's actually make the road car a race car.
A race car, yeah.
So they were trying to follow that mould, and since then, with the Volvo and everying, those
But the
limitations have
ZB
changed.
is the road car. Other than it's got a bit of carbon fibre tailgate, the road car panels and everything fit on it. Yes, the wheel arches might move to suit the wheelbase of the chassis, but it's the same, whereas the other one's not.
No. And that's the challenging thing. That I look back at this car here in front of us as a VR Commodore. You know, when the VT Commodore come along, our teams didn't rub their fingers together and write, how can we make this thing a rocket ship? It was like, how are we going to make these free headlights fit, and how are we going to make the road car guards fit? It was never, let's get a new model and make this thing an absolute rocket ship. It was just about getting it on the racetrack to look like the car, and that's what has lost a bit now with the way the supercars thing's gone. The that started with the wheelbase.
Yeah.
Making cars fit the wheelbase. Now, I don't have a proper solution for a parity category, but that's set a precedent. And did anyone try and fit a Mustang headlight to a Mustang? Probably not. Did
No.
anyone try and fit a road car grille? Probably not.
No.
But that then comes back to the rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's probably let us down a little bit.
Now, Phil,
Yes.
we do have some exclusive vision.
Of what?
Now, it's Scoop. It's from the top secret Supercars parity department.
All those years of motorsport news, you never got scoops like this.
And while they spoke about how close they got with the parity this year,
Yeah.
it's them discussing just how much they've missed it by. Let's
This
look
is
at
going to shake the foundation.
let's look at the vision.
By that much.
60 minutes. We beat you to that. You got to admit it.
I like
Can we look at that again?
Did you have the logo in the background?
Yeah. No, we can't look at it again. Yes, we did have the logo in the background. That's the big budget we're on here, Jack.
I like it. Full of surprises here tonight, boys. I like it.
Now, that's. Hopefully, we'll have more of that vision in the future. I'm just going to get myself a drink,
Right.
and we might just start discussing TCR.
Okay. Why do you need a drink?
Why have you got a drink when you're talking about?
I don't know. I don't know what point you're making here.
And let's roll the vision from a great day out at
Queensland Raceway.
Queensland Raceway on Saturday. Robbie, let's roll the vision. And no.
There we go. JK rolling. Aha, see what I did then? JK Vernay rolling away from the grid there. The Frenchman in the Audi. That's the car Garth Tander drove previously. And this is kind of what happens when a bloke in his fourth year of experience with TCR gets into the series. There's a bit of contact further back there in the pack. But the Frenchman in the A3 winning by, is it about 8 seconds, clearing out? And there
he is.
Getting the trophy.
Just in case you haven't seen him or turned out Sunday to see who he was, there's JK Vernay.
That's what he looks like. Because...
what happened Sunday?
Yeah. Do we know?
He was ill, and
He's
it was
unwell.
a great opportunity for young Aaron Seaton to get a drive, Gerald.
Well, Aaron was on call at least 10 or 20 minutes before the race, wasn't he?
So was he that makes him the designated driver?
I like what you've done there, Phil.
Maybe. What? Now, we can't confirm anything. He was
unwell.
JK didn't front on Sunday.
No.
Well, he did front, and wasn't well. But no reasons have been given.
No.
Now, it's interesting today that Speed Cafe, or late this afternoon, have put up a story saying that CAMS cannot confirm or deny any alcohol breath testing results. We do know that there was a lot of breath testing going on out there. We saw Paul Morris on his Instagram stories, had a couple of, he had his young bloke, Nash, and one of the crew guys out there, the Flash. I was going to call him the Flash. Nash and the crew guys all blowing triple O.
Yep.
But there's a bit of a rumour that someone might have celebrated a win on Saturday.
So CAMS' statement has said they have breath tested drivers, which is quite common, Jake. You're a race driver. You've been breath tested.
And they're hot to trot at Queensland Raceway. They did a lot of the drivers, including myself, James Courtney, and the development series. The whole field, I believe, got breath tested Saturday morning. And a lot of tracks do it. But I must admit, Queensland Raceway, they're hot to trot. So I don't know whether they've got some free machines out there or what the story is. But they're known to be walking around that facility in the morning, checking the blood alcohol of drivers and team members.
Right. So, and the CAM statement has said they're not in a position to confirm or deny any of the results. So, okay, I'm a journo, Gerald. You're a PR guy. From a PR point of view, what's the play here?
They've just bowled themselves. They've padded up without offering a shot. put themselves out. They've had a Swimming Australia moment of where the young swimmer has provided a positive A sample, and they've sent her home from the World Championships and said it's personal reasons, rather than being up front and saying she's had a positive drug test and coming out and being honest about it and transparent about it. I think this possibly could be a Swimming Australia PR moment for Cams. If Vernay has tested positive, which is the big rumour. And
is it positive or is it just a number?
It's a blood
it's
alcohol.
a number.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not drugs, but alcohol. If he has blown over 00, and they haven't come out and been transparent about it, that's appalling. Now, why wouldn't you come out and say, we tested 34 drivers on the weekend and 34 officials and 34 stuff, and everyone come out with a negative result? All triple O's, double O's, right? You do that because it shows that everyone's playing by the rules, everyone knows the rule books, everyone's being safe, and the system's working. Now, if someone's blown over, why wouldn't you say it?
So that's the PR angle.
Yeah.
From the press angle, 3 decades writing about these things, what's going to happen from the press is because there's a lack of information, the people who are going to want to get the story are going to try and get the story. So they're going to fill in the cement between the bricks. So,
well, all it's done is allowed Speed Cafe to put that story up today. And for people that don't know anything about it or hadn't heard the rumour, now they're asking.
And to be fair, the way they've written it is they haven't suggested that, and neither are we, that Vernay has actually blown anything but 00.
No.
It's a bit of a nothing story, though, too.
It is a bit of a nothing story, but the question from a press point of view is why do you put that story up and why do you make those inquiries to Cams? And yes, there were rumours on Sunday, which came back to me, and I wasn't at the track, of people suggesting, do I know why? Well, no. But and if I was in the business of finding out news now, which I'm not, I would try and find out. So I'd try and ask the people around what exactly happened and then report on that. So from a news point of view, you've covered the PR side of it. It's not a good look. It's certainly not a good look from the news point of view. And all you've got to do is look at cricket, football, any other code, tennis. This is what happens when the media is involved. So, look, we wish Vernay all the best. The car didn't go that well. Aaron Seaton was kind of thrown off the deep end. He wasn't kind of thrown off the deep end. He was thrown off the deep end. Difficult situation to be in, Jack, with a car he hadn't driven before.
Yeah.
And you've driven one of these cars.
Yeah, they're pretty unique, being front-wheel drive and, tough situation. You're in a car that won the race the day before. And
By a mile.
And then you start off the back row and you're trying to work out where you're going to get on the brakes into turn one and everything. So I think Aaron did a pretty good job in the end. He got going pretty well in the second race Sunday. But, yeah, a bit of a bizarre situation, if indeed that is true. They write down every name of the driver and everyone's results. They write down on it. So the information is documented should anyone have blown a different reading.
And as Phil rightly pointed out, we're not saying he did or didn't produce a positive alcohol breath test.
No, I don't know.
But there's very strong rumours where there's smoke, there's normally fire.
Yeah, and it would do well to address those rumours. And
they should have just addressed them straight away by saying we did plenty of tests and we had no problems, or we did plenty of tests and we had a problem.
Yeah.
And we adjudicated as per the rule book.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, his TCR record's pretty good, though. 1 race, 1 win.
That's 1,000%, isn't it?
That's a pretty good record, mate. He might not come back just on that numbers alone.
And you got to feel.
Well, why would you?
And you got to have some sympathy for Aaron Seaton. 3rd generation driver. His old man was a legend. Gee, imagine having that burden in life. Eh?
I can feel. I feel how he's going, and I haven't had a lot to do with him, but he seems like a pretty good kid. He works full time at DJR Team Penske.
Jeff Tuffhill says, ask Jack if he's keen to have a crack at TCR.
I'm keen to race anything. I'll race a golf cart or a wheelbarrow, but I had a brief chat to some teams, and it was all, can you bring money? And I don't have any money to bring, so that makes it challenging. But that's not been negative. It's just motorsport is an expensive game, and if I was a team owner, I'd be asking drivers to bring money to pay the bills. It's as simple as that. So yeah, long story short, I'd definitely do it if I didn't have to bring a check.
Just before,
There is one important question that's been fired in via Facebook. Talk about second and third generation drivers. Stephen Richards goes okay at the mountain. Where can I get a T-shirt, Jacko?
I was waiting to see if anyone noticed.
Good Father's Day present.
This is another one of those T-shirts I got done by the folk in America who designed the awesome Speedway
just
shirts.
pop up a bit, mate. We'll just move the mic.
And so this is a part of my retro round. This is Perkins Engineering T-shirt. So perkinsengineering.com.au, available online. Really cool. We've got Dad's 92. This is the fastest VL ever around Bathurst. So really cool to do the PE T-shirt. And there's a 1990 VL inspired one as well. So we just did a short range of T-shirts.
Is that the Sandown winner?
This is the Sandown 500 winner.
Stevie Harrington.
Steve Harrington, yep.
Carried LP that day, by the way.
Well,
They carried him to victory.
Look, Dad's the first to admit you can't win Bathurst or Sandown on your own. So certainly, all the co-drivers, especially Steve that day, did a brilliant job.
What a great car that
Great
was.
race, actually, because the dude Morris was having a good dice with Dad the last few laps in a BMW. That's a cool race to
I was
watch.
there.
92?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. The old SBS coverage. Will Hagen commentating from memory, and Morris was much quicker through the turns, but the VL had a lot more. There's no replacement for displacement, they say. Had a lot more grunt, and just cool. So, Richo, jump online. I might even do your deal.
Free for ex-team members. Hey, I bought one.
Yeah, we sent that offshore to Richie Crampton.
Yeah. No, freebies. Dean Canto, can we not run into each other at the Enduros this year?
I don't think we ever have.
Can
Wow.
you see over the dashboard?
Details, Dino. Details.
Come on.
Yeah, I don't plan on running into anyone.
Who's Dino driving for this year?
He's with Macca.
He's the Alburys.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
with
wow.
Macca Jones.
Macca Jones.
Well, there you go.
The cool drive car.
Very good. Got the air conditioning going?
Well, you'd be disappointed if the air conditioning wasn't working in the cool drive car.
Absolutely.
But they're not just air conditioners, right?
No. Parts distributors.
Yeah.
Very big. Growing rapidly.
Yeah, and the Blanchard family.
Actually,
Petronas.
can you we need a bit of a budget for the show. This should be the Cool Drive
Well,
show.
let's give them
JB, if you're watching,
let's
Tim's
give them a
dad.
shameless plug now. They've just opened up a cool drive distribution around the corner from our factory.
Dean
You know what they
Canto-
are everywhere. You see
Dean
their
Canto
vans
wants to know, do you prep for a race like the French driver?
Well, if he blew .00, yes. But if not, no.
There's a car you should have installed a camera in, Dino, because that's what he does on ride days. He's the king of video, aren't you?
You know what might get installed in that car? An interlock system.
Hang on, no. Ooh,
It might
not.
Right,
Move
let's
on. Go there.
let's move on.
Move
Little bit more news. Let's go to a different sport. We've had a good discussion about that. Big news in Australian drag racing this week with Kelly Betts, the first woman to ever win a professional drag racing title in Australia. When she won the Australian Top Fuel Championship. Let's have a look at the vision. No, Robbie. There.
It is Kelly Betts, 380, 324 mile an
A lot
hour.
of celebrating going on there.
Australian
But
champion
wait for the Boldman
in
interview
Top
coming up.
Fuel.
Kelly Betts, Australian Top Fuel Champion.
Oh,
Far out. I don't even know what to say.
brilliant
Yeah,
bottom end interview.
You got a bit emotional then, G-Mac.
I did actually. I've
That's
known
awesome.
Kelly since she was a young kid.
was that at the Winter Nationals?
Last year,
Last year.
2018. Unfortunately, though, Kelly, she's run Top Fuel for the Lamartina family for 2 years. Last year, in her rookie year, she won the title. This year, she finished second in the championship to Wayne Newby. But unfortunately, she's lost her ride. Phil Lamartina, co-owner of the team with his brothers, has elected to jump back into the seat. Nothing wrong with that if he's paying the bills. He's seen how good the car's going, and he's decided to jump back in the seat. But it's sad that Kelly has lost her drive because she is such a great driver. She won the first ever Junior Dragster Championship in Australia. She won a modified title in a modified dragster as well back in 2010 and won the Top Fuel title in her rookie year. So she's missed out.
Hopefully she'll be back.
Yeah,
Let's
hopefully.
hope Santo Raposada or someone's on the phone to her with a Top Fuel drive because she deserves it. But welcome back Phil Lamartina as well, because he's a 3-time Australian champion too and runs a fantastic operation. So
Carrot King.
yeah, absolutely, the Carrot Kings. Anyway, that's the first part of our show here, Phil. We've had some great advertisers on the show.
Fantastic. Huge response.
We've had the Chrysler dealership with the Chevy Silverado. Then we had Rudy, the former gynecologist from Cuba, who now works for TDM, car sales. But we've got our first real corporate. So let's. We want to show some good ads, and we'll start showing some great motorsport ads from now on in. Here's a great one from Napa.
Looking good. Oh, it's the funny car guy.
Hey, you got Napa know-how too, huh?
Yep. Well, Martin does go 200 miles an hour.
Ron breaks 300 in 4 seconds.
Yeah, in a straight line. That's real hard.
You drive in a circle.
You don't even steer.
Look at me.
Hey, you
I
two.
turn left.
Don't make me go get my can.
Your can's old.
Quiet! Matlock's on!
That's Daryl's can.
Boogity, boogity!
Boogity, boogity, boogity.
Who did that sound like?
That's fantastic. That was Daryl's can.
No, I was thinking of Putty from Seinfeld. Philip Warburton.
Yeah, well,
Patrick Warburton.
Yeah. No. He yes, because we'll show some other Napa commercials, but a great commercial. Always good sense of humour, and what I like about motorsport commercials, they're great. You know, bit of humour, sees what we love on the television, and it's great to see sponsors actually use their assets and use them well.
The best one for me was Dick Johnson, Barry Sheen.
Yeah.
So,
How good?
exactly,
How
and
good
they're
was it?
classics.
Was it? What about a sock? What do I want a sock for?
You know what? I'm one of those old fogies, and I get a lot of news online. But to drive that, we have newspaper delivered to our house on Saturdays and Sundays. And I tell you what, every Saturday and Sunday when I go out the front door of my dressing gown, do you know what's in my head? Oh, the paper. Barry's stuck in my head all these years later.
Very good. There needs to be more of that, doesn't
We
there?
all miss him.
Need to do more of that.
Yeah, we do.
Any more questions there, Gerald?
Mikey. Paul Morris says Mikey. Yep. Russell Ingall's second TCR. How awesome that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, did good.
Was good. Benny Small. Who is a better kick from outside 50? Benny, you've tuned in late, mate. We had the vision. I got there. Benny Small. Great to have your company. John Geisler. We've just lost 5 viewers. Stay on track, guys. Yeah, okay. John's written online a couple of times that we've copied Russell and the dude's show. No, we didn't. We were on air first. So let's get that straight, John.
The night before, live.
2 nights.
On the was it 2 nights?
2 nights
on
live
on the Facebooks in colour.
In colour.
Now in colour.
Now let's go to the United States. We've got some. We'll get into some racing. We'll talk about racing and great finishes and all of that sort of stuff. We're going to have a bit of audio here as well, Jack. But IMSA racing on the weekend. I can't work out how many classes and categories they got. Ryan Briscoe had another win in the Ford GT.
He did.
They were racing at was it Lime Rock?
Road America.
Road America.
Road America.
Let's go and have a look at this great bit of vision first.
As far as Littell is concerned, he comes down the inside, then switches to the outside of Canada corner. He's got the second. Fourth to second round the outside in the wetted Canada corner. Robert Littell, you superstar! What an overtake! Stop the presses. Stop the voting. That's the overtake of the year right there. There will not be a better one. He's not going to win it, I don't think.
He's not going to win it, I don't think.
Now,
how brilliant was that, though? That was going from fourth to second around the outside.
Buffalo Girls style.
Jack, how would you go?
I'd back myself in.
Yeah?
I'd have a crack. But that Road America track is awesome. I like watching the NASCAR Xfinity road course race there.
Yeah.
And in the wet, it seems to rain there quite a lot. So I'd be interested to see what tyre those guys are on there. But it looked like they have a bit of grip to commit to going around the outside.
Mate, that was fantastic as a pass, and rightly said, probably the greatest pass of the year to date. Let's now look at the finish.
To the line, 75 minutes has elapsed. Here comes the McLaren. The McLaren will win. No, he won't. He won't. I don't believe it. Littell's won it. Littell's won it on the line. Littell has won it. The American muscle has beaten the European style.
Robin Liddell. Now, the guy, Whitmer in the McLaren, as he was coming up to the line to press the button to the radio to start celebrating with his teammates, unfortunately hit the pit lane limiter.
Yep.
No, he didn't.
He did.
Yep. So you'd look at that and you'd think, what I thought, it's the last lap, it's uphill, he's out of fuel or he's got fuel surge. No. Wrong button.
Wrong button.
And we saw that
Wrong
happen.
button.
We saw that happen at the 12-hour, didn't we? We saw one of the drivers in
Bentley.
one of the
Bentley.
Bentleys turn the car off at the end of pit lane instead of deactivating the limiter. So how complicated is it with all your buttons on your steering wheels and stuff?
Well, you're supposed to know where they are, aren't you?
You are.
I'll be having a good look at ours now. But our in the Walkinshaw car, for example, the radio is actually a pull toggle, and then the pit speed is a button on the other thumb.
Right.
So
you can't get them confused.
yeah, well, we don't have a lot of switches. I know a lot of those GT type cars do because they've got traction control and ABS. But crikey, if you're mixing up the buttons like that, you just get to the end. All we had to do was go a bit further.
Yeah.
And then if you didn't know which button to push.
She's not over till the fat lady sings, is it?
Oh, that's a shocker.
So your crew's going mad at you while you're on the radio and you go, new phone, who dis?
Yeah.
They had the vision of the guys celebrating and then realising what went on. And
like Hildebrand's team at Indy a few years ago when he put it on the wall on the
last turn,
5 seconds to go before the end of the race.
Yeah, and our HRT mate Dan Weldon came around and in the William Rast Jeans car and took the win
for Brian Herder and Michael Andretti, your boss.
Yeah, my boss. He's
Your boss.
He's coming out to Bathurst, I think. Definitely. I'm not sure if Zach Brown is, but definitely I believe Michael's coming out. It's good. It's good when Michael comes out. It's awesome, actually.
It is amazing, and there's always a dinner for the press, which I've been very fortunate to be invited to for the last dozen or so years that Tom started all those years ago, and to find myself sitting opposite Michael Andretti at dinner at Bathurst. It is amazing.
He's cool to talk to as well because
totally cool.
You know, a lot of people don't realise how involved he is, but he knows all the races, watches all the races. But just talking to him about his history, you know, he stint in F1, just their team, IndyCar, how it's all going, and he just loves motorsport. It's cool.
He's the second coolest person in his family.
Who's the most coolest, Mario?
The Fonz, of course he is.
We're at Indy in 2013. And I was talking to Marino Franchitti, and up ahead was Simon McNamara and James and Max Pappas. They're walking 10 foot in front of us. We're out the back of the garage areas. We're walking somewhere. And Mario Andretti comes flying the other way on the golf cart. And all of a sudden I hear behind us the big skid and the golf cart going sideways, and he yells out, "Hey, James," and comes back and starts talking to Courtney. It was cool. One of the coolest moments ever.
I thought you were going to say Mario gets out of the golf cart and says, "Aren't you Jack Perkins' co-driver?"
Well, he might have said
Pappas took him to the Dallara office because that's where the good coffee was, Italian coffee, you know. And the boys being from Australia want good coffee, not American coffee. And I don't care. But I was standing there and we're all chatting. And Ari Lyondike walked up, the 2-time winner.
You're a terrible name dropper, you really are.
No. And just, "Hey, James, I saw you racing in Texas last week, blah, blah, blah." And I'm freaking out. I got Mario Andretti's been doing it. Ari Lyondike, it was just coolest. I was just standing there.
By the way, just before we move on to the next thing, does Michael Andretti know that his dad raced your dad in F1?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so it was Adelaide 500 last year as well.
Yeah.
I got to reintroduce Dad and Michael.
Right.
And Dad's got some great Mario stories.
I bet.
From 76, 77, I think they, used to stay in close hotels and things in various Grand Prix. And, when you race against drivers, you do get to hang out with them a bit. So, Dad's got some cool stories there.
Absolutely. David Jones, g'day Jonesy, great program. Thank you, mate. Aaron Johnson, loved the show.
Good.
We've got a couple. Stephen Richards was just like the Bentley, and we appreciate you hooking in, Richo.
Come back to GT Racing, Richo, please.
Adam Bressington saying some big names watching. So we've got Slade Dogs watching. Dale Rogers loves the Gossi car on the on the desk here.
Look at that.
Of course, we've
Look
got
at that bad boy.
A Gossy sitting next to us. It's even better.
Should have worn my race suit.
Should have
worn a cravat. I'll bring one next time.
Gee. Anyway, that's a beauty.
Let's kick it on, mate. We've got a ways to go.
Yeah, we have to. Yeah, let's now. Now, this is a bit of us, Jack, having knocked blokes out in racing.
Hang on.
Some on the track, some off it. Late models. Now, let's go to Speedway in the United States. Now, this is Bowman Gray Stadium in Winston-Salem. It's known as the Madhouse. And let's roll the vision as Jonathan Brown and Jason Myers in the late models last week are going at it.
Jonathan Brown, the footballer, and Jason Myers, the murderer?
I don't know, but the crowd's going wild. Now, boom. Just
going to be making their way to that area very quickly.
Close. There's still a bit of sand. You can hear the crowd going off. And
Tim Brown and Burt
there's
Myers
going to be some pissed off drivers, but there's a very pissed off policeman. Here's Big Johnny Brown being taken from the car.
Well,
and officer. Thank you, officer. And there's the other one.
Jonathan Brown will not be on each other's Christmas list. Christmas.
Now, that happens at that place all the time.
In Winston-Salem. That's where they burnt the witches.
It is one of the greatest joints. Now, but it's a long time NASCAR place, and people want it taken off. They want this NASCAR sanctioning gone, but it's also a football stadium as well. There's a great story Richard Childress did about his life in NASCAR, and that's where he used to go, and he used to race.
Really?
Yeah, and last year they had one guy who got knocked off. And battling for the championship last race of the season, comes back on. The cars are under like a restart, so he drives straight into the guy leading the race, who he's battling the championship for in the last race. It's just madness.
Can you imagine after what's the next Supercars race, Taylor and Ben? You know, every time there's a bit of a fisticuff on the track, their cameras always race down to the drivers getting out of the car.
Yeah.
I can't see three coppers standing there getting ready. You know what I mean? Like, would you see three South Australian policemen standing there ready to go like that? They're obviously geared up and only want to listen to the
and armed. Like, it is the USA.
It is incredible. But let's go back to Speedway.
Yeah.
And another great, big name in NASCAR and Speedway. He, in fact, is a team owner. Tony Stewart. Yeah, there's a couple for you. He's not happy. Now, listen. The guy says, hey, I've got two for you. Sticks the fingers up and whack!
Yeah, fuck you, bitch!
Oh, Tony, that's on the weekend. Oh, Tony has given it to him.
Don't fuss with smoke.
So that was at the Jackson Motorplex in Jackson, Minnesota. And so Smoke actually runs a sprint car series. This is the Ollie series or something, I think it's called. Like that. And he was there racing, and they promoted all about Smoke, and he was going to be there for the day. Well, he blew an engine, like, early, and went, well, that's it for the day. And so this guy's abusing the shit out of him and saying, you're ripping us off, and you're a turd and all that. And Tony said, well, I blew my engine up. So the guy's abused him, and he's two fingers up, and he's gone, well, I've got two for you, and dealt with him properly.
It happens.
Team owner.
First Amendment.
I wouldn't want to rough Smoke up on the track. There's no way.
Or off the track.
Who's got the nastiest temper in supercars, Jackson? Who's cranky? Who gets cranky?
They're
all pretty calm.
Yeah, I don't know. In the current crop, I'm not sure.
Who wouldn't you like?
What's Courtney like?
Well, James and I were just having a joke about this the other day. We haven't raced each other for 5 years because we've been sharing a car. So, I don't know. They're all pretty tame. Probably borderline boring.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't you want to find?
I reckon Lee Holdsworth. He's a little
Scrapper?
stocky. Yeah.
Nuggety? His little nuggety back pocket player?
Yeah. Yep. Shin boner.
You reckon?
Yeah. Don't know about the rest of them.
I reckon Dale Wood. He might have a few as well.
Yeah.
He'd be the guy I'd like to have in my corner if there was a Barney.
We've still got shitloads to go, boys.
Go.
Let's NASCAR. We might jump a couple here, Robbie. We'll say the results. Pocono, Denny Hamlin won in overtime. Eric Jones second at Pocono. Then last weekend on the road course at Watkins Glen, second road course of the year, and Chase Elliott dominated, won all three stages. And Chevy having a bit of a comeback. Martin Truex Jr. finished a close second. So we're jumping 15 there, Robbie. But the week before, the Xfinity Series at Iowa. Now, this is in a little bit of a Days of Thunder, go out there and hit the pace car moment. Let's have a look at Dylan Bassett. And, Jack, you see the sweeper on the track? Have you seen this? A couple of guys decide to pit. Bang.
I had seen that, and I felt pretty bad for the driver, mate. There's a lot of dust there. You see coming out the back of the truck.
Yeah.
And he was blinded, but left-hand drive, he's gone eye line straight in. That'd be a decent lick. It lifts the truck back wheels off the ground.
Yeah. So there it is. And he got out and walked away and, went to the...
Infield Care Centre.
The infield. Some sort of memorial hospital arrangement going on there.
You got to get checked out, mate, in America. You got to go to the Infield Care Centre. They put the stethoscope on you and make sure you're right.
That's happened to me.
So we got past a couple of NASCAR races there. IndyCar. There's been some bloody great racing. What about this one, IndyCars?
There has been some crackers. Let's go to Mid-Ohio, Robbie. And this is a place where Scott Dixon it's one of his best tracks, and that's really saying something. He's been such a veteran, 4 wins previously, but his teammate, Felix Rosenqvist, the rookie, the Ganassi star, signing from the off-season. And then there's a big altercations there. Joseph Newgarden, the points leader, stuck in the kitty litter. There goes his chance of victory. Last lap, Scotty comes out, the king of road racing. What a lot of experience, but right behind him, his Ganassi teammate, Felix Rosenqvist. Now, is he starting to look like the new Zanardi? They come out of the last complex of corners. He tries to get alongside, but Dixon hangs on for his 5th win at Mid-Ohio. And I tell you what, Alex Zanardi all those years ago came to IndyCar with Ganassi, or Champ Car as it was back in the day. Not a lot of people in America knew him, and it looks like Chip might have his new star driver.
The racing has been bloody good this year.
It has.
And I must admit, I've watched a couple of them. It's always good to see Dixon running well. He's really underestimated out here, I reckon. Like, he's awesome to watch. He's always up the front. And you're right, Chip seems to have this knack of being able to find guys, and they run really well with his team. And if you follow him on Twitter, all he ever writes is, "I like winners."
He does it. It's not the most thrilling account. Will Power was 4th in that race. In the points, Newgarden leads from Rossi Pagano, and Power's back in 5th place. But like you say, Jake, there's a lot to like about IndyCar competition at the moment.
Dave Harding's actually. G'day, Dave. Thanks for tuning in. He said, "What's the latest on getting Indy back to Surfers Paradise?"
It's going to take a lot of money
again, and it's the age-old problem is what time of year. And they want it early in the year, don't they?
And they've stuffed up the track because of the light rail. We can't go back, so the track would have to go north into Main Beach.
The restaurant's too good there.
But I don't know what's going to happen. It'd be great to have IndyCar back. I mean, that category.
But the bill would be enormous.
Yeah.
And the racing would be enormous. And of course, one of the problems is IndyCar's management doesn't want to go into October because they don't want to put up their races against the NFL.
Okay.
So you would have to think about moving the date of the calendar. And of course, one of the reasons the Gold Coast has been so successful is because it's in school holidays time, in that time of the year.
Now, in the early 90s, am I right in saying that used to be in March, that event?
It did. When Nigel Mansell was there, when he hobbled out of the car. You and I were there, Gerald.
I think that might have been my TV debut.
It was March. He was there in March.
So why did the date change? For school holidays, or
partially because of school holidays, and of course F1 runs in March now, so
March wouldn't work then.
I don't think it would work, no. But look, if the Queensland government wants to spend the money. The thing is, if they've just invested $10 million in a feasibility study for the Olympic Games, matched $1 for $1 by the federal government, and there's a good use of $20 million, isn't it, viewers? Huh? I don't think they're going to spend that sort of money on getting the Indy cars back to the Gold Coast. S5000s at the Gold Coast might not be a bad thing.
Paint them up like Indy cars, like that Valvoline car they got now. Looks a bit like an old Indy car.
You want to drive one of those?
Oh, I would never say no. I'd have a crack.
You'd have a crack.
Looks and sounds.
I think LP might come back if that's a bit of him.
Yeah, well, that F5000 stuff from 70s and 80s, pretty cool to watch. You
Absolutely.
know? Hopefully it's successful because I think it's got all the right ingredients. But it just comes back to money. The cars aren't cheap and motorsport's expensive. So
6 weeks until the first race.
Hopefully, I think they're going to have 9 on the track. I read somewhere 9 or 5 at a test day coming up, and then 9 for Sandown.
Had a couple of dramas on the weekend though.
They did.
Ipswich apparently.
Couple of radiator problems, but they've been fixed by PWR, I believe.
People run
Good
to
company,
the fence.
PWR. Hope the shares are still going okay.
Oh, really?
People run to the fence to look at it though, like it's
absolutely.
loud and it's quick and
Todd Kelly had a run on the weekend. Will he race one? Maybe.
That'd be cool.
It wouldn't take the level of commitment physically as supercars would because you've got distance races to do, but I can see Todd in one of those. It'd be a bunch of fun. It'd be great to see him. He's a terrific driver in open wheelers back in the day.
And John Geisler's saying no more Ipswich. We're hearing that there is no more Ipswich next year and no more Phillip Island.
Is that right?
On the calendars.
You're going to close down Phillip Island? Or just supercars?
When's the calendar coming out? Because normally I remember
normally comes out Sandown.
Well, between Sandown and Bathurst,
Yeah.
I thought. And there was talk this year that's going to come out a lot earlier. So there's a lot of rumours floating around, but just no calendar.
Plenty of rumours. And
I've got a holiday plan next year. I need to work out where the calendar is.
Right.
What's next?
I don't
what do
really,
you got?
but I just like,
Yeah?
I like to know.
Righto. We might jump a couple here, Robbie. We'll jump to 20, mate. We're going to the NHRA. Third week of the Western Swing, 3 races in a row. It finished at Seattle on the weekend. Yep, and here we go. Austin Prock, near lane, driving for John Force up against Steve Torrance, who's won 8 times this year, and with his dad they've won 10 times, but Austin Prock took his first ever Top Fuel win, driving for John Force. And Force, in the funny car final, trying for his 150th NHRA national event win. The Chevy driver did it. 150 wins, 3.97. 70 years old he is. And then Greg Anderson in the Summit car trying to clean sweep the 3-race Western Swing. Unfortunately, goes down. Matt Hartford, great win on a hole shot. A 660 at 209 mile an hour. Good weekend for Chevrolet with Proc, Force, and Matt Hartford taking the win. There's Hartford. That's his first win of the year. Now, the reason I wanted to show that is 150 wins. We know Jamie Whincup win 115, race win at Ipswich the other week. Fabulous achievement. A few up on Craig now. His win also moved him to second on the Holden all-time win list with 81 wins. Lowndes has got 82, so he's only got one more to equal him in Holden's.
No doubt we'll hear about that when it happens.
Yep. But Richard Petty, 200 race wins in NASCAR. But John Force has always been the king of interviews. And we have to watch his reaction when he got out of the peaked Chevy Camaro down in the braking area. Climbing out, 70 years old. He's been through it all. Stars and Stripes, American made. And this guy is a, quote, machine on legs. Let's have a listen to this.
The raw emotion of John Force pouring out.
I've been screwed up for 25 races. And God, I'm glad that monkey's gone. I'm going to shoot that. Where is that monkey? I love that monkey now.
The words flowing like a river, and we apologize if some of those hit you the wrong direction, but that's John Force.
He's like that in real life, but he's dropped the F-bomb twice on American television.
Yeah.
And you know what Americans are like about that going on TV.
That's right. And has he got the best choppers, the best teeth in motor racing?
Oh, he's some of the stuff that he's done over the career. His career really kicked off in Australia.
Yeah.
Because he came to Australia in 1974. Was a no one in America. In fact, no track promoter would let him race on the track because they are known as leakers. And Steve Evans, the old now late Steve Evans, allowed him onto the track at Lyons, I think it was, to take the PR shot. And he came to Australia. He used that to come to Australia and. With Gary Dencham, blew the car up on the first run, had to borrow parts. He sold a set of tyres to Jim Reed so he could actually fix the car and feed the crew and get home. And he's gone on. He didn't win a national event until 1987 and used to have these fabulous bottom end interviews. But, of course, in 1987, they didn't telecast every event. And he did it in Canada, the Molson Grand Nationals. He gets out of the car and says, "Where's the TV cameras?" Well, they didn't even record it for later on. There were no TV cameras or anything. So, anyway, 32 years later, 150 wins.
Journo's dream.
16 titles, and he is in the running for his 17th.
Big, hairy American winning machine.
And he's like that in real life when you meet him. Like he's out of control. But that was fabulous. We'll talk about Ipswich. Ipswich results. Jamie Wincup's first race win of the year. Saturday, 115th of his career, 81st for Holden. Scotty McLaughlin took win number, 14 on Sunday up there?
Is it that many this year?
14, yeah. I think it is.
Did anyone think in July, we'll be saying Jamie Wincup's first win of the year?
Yeah,
it's just
unbelievable, but still,
fantastic job and well deserved.
Yeah, absolutely. And Scotty, now the big discussion point here. I mean, we haven't got the vision, even though we're allowed to run the vision. We just, it's, thought, relax.
We're giving them the week off.
Postergate. A Postergate.
Yes.
Didn't you guys do this initially, Gerald?
Well, a couple of people said it was the Gerald McDornan rule why they were banned. It's the Ben Beasley rule because, Ford are in and out of motorsport like a yo-yo going up and down, right? And on one of their many returns to motorsport where they, and everyone goes, Ford. Benny Beasley was working for Seagull and thought they'd bring out a poster for everything. So, so it got into a little bit of a war and they banned them. So the last time a poster was on a podium without being fined, even though they were banned at the time, let's go to 22. Winton, 2004, Cameron McConville, when Rick Kelly led him through for the win. Jason Bright third. I actually got threatened with the 10 grand fine that day, but I asked Cole Hitchcock.
The media manager for Supercars?
Yeah, for Supercars. And he hadn't been with them for long. And I said, Cole, can I, we've got a 1, 2, 3 here, let's give the guys the posters on the podium. He said, yeah, sure, that's not a problem. And Wayne Caddick wanted to fine us the 10 grand. I said, well, hang on, I asked. And Cole at the time said, well, I thought you meant everywhere else. I said, I didn't need permission anywhere else. No, it's only for the podium. So I ain't paying the 10 grand. That was the last time they were ever on the podium.
And this time, for those of you who haven't seen it, it was the DGR team Penske, the Shell team, putting posters on the podium. And they got fined. There's another one. The Holden wins the big 30. Yep. So they've got fined, but they're now reproducing the posters and they're going to sell them for charity.
Well, those posters, see, that's what I'd always put them out in the crowd, but make sure you couldn't have them in Parc Ferme, and the drivers couldn't hold them on the podium, or the team members couldn't hold them either, but the crowd could hold them. So, and that was a big success, and we'd actually make sure that those photos would usually end up in the papers. The sad thing about this, which really gets back to the job that they're doing, a lot of the teams of PR and stuff, I think, is that there was no newspaper in Australia, I don't think, that carried a picture of him with the poster.
Yeah.
So, it was on the TV for a split moment, but there was no real outrage about it, no real coverage for it, so it's a shame.
Well, the moral of the story is, Jack, when you're on the podium at Bathurst on the top step, no posters.
No posters.
Or Gerald will pay the fine.
Oh,
Yep.
you're right.
I'll get Gerald to give me the poster to take up.
Okay.
Who do I work for? I don't work for anyone. Got no posters too. Formula One. Are you
F1.
interested in Formula One, Jack? Your dad's a former Formula One driver.
Yeah, and to be honest, I am interested in it, but I'm a bit disappointed now the races started that hour later. I mean, they used to start at 10 and now they start at 11.
Yeah.
On a school night, that is getting a bit later. But
For a young bloke like you.
For a young bloke like me, exactly. But Dad actually watches every F1, well, most of them, more so than any of the supercar stuff, and he's a big Daniel Ricciardo fan, so I got the debrief from him Monday morning on what happened, and sounded like some people thought the race was pretty boring, and you look at the results and there's only 4 people on the lead lap, but Dad thought it was quite an enthralling race. There was a little bit of strategy involved, and there was, the good guys racing hard, and there was battles right throughout the field. So, cool track, that Hungary track. I reckon that's one I'd like to get to. They reckon it's a great Grand Prix, and the track's always made for pretty good racing.
Start of the race, Max Verstappen, unbelievably, his first pole position and ahead of Valtteri Bottas, who sort of steps on it in the first couple of corners and locks his brakes and loses track position. Now, here's one of the stories of the race, the changing of positions between the two Toro Rossos. Daniil Kvyat, fresh off a podium finish in Germany, will he be in a Red Bull before the end of the season? There's a bit of talk that he might replace Pierre Gasly, because those two guys going wheel to wheel, the other one, of course, Alexander Albon, a little bit more impressive at the moment than the man who stepped up to Red Bull this year.
How good is this, though? Like, they were wheel to wheel.
Yep, absolutely fantastic. And Kvyat, of course, a new dad, his partner just having had a baby. Lewis Hamilton comes in for a fresh set of rubber and chases. Now, this is a pivotal moment of the race. If he could have got past that Red Bull, there's no doubt that Red Bull would have had to have stopped Verstappen, and he would have been on the chase strategy. He tries to get around the outside, runs off the road, and doesn't really get another chance after that. So medium tyres go onto the Mercedes-Benz, and he comes out and turns on the afterburners to go after Verstappen and takes the lead with 3 to go. The question is, once that lead plateaued at 15 seconds, why didn't Red Bull stop him, Verstappen, and put him on the soft tyres? Simon Pagenaud waves the checkered flag. Jean Girard, and immediately had a cappuccino afterwards. And that was a great drive by Hamilton, but that was a pivotal drive by Verstappen. Honda are on the same level now, or just about as Mercedes-Benz.
Existentialism. Democracy and menage a trois. Oh, they're 3 pretty good things.
Yes, Simon Pagenaud, great to be there. He actually unveiled his head on the Borg Warner Trophy in France.
That's
cool.
After the Grand Prix. That was cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. What they're doing with that now is really good.
Americans know how to promote a race.
James Henderson. I reckon Hunter McElroy deserves a bit of a mention after Mid-Ohio. Great win over there for Hunter last week.
Yeah, and that's, for those who don't know, is Andy McElroy's son, who runs McElroy Racing, and was successful here in the Australian Formula 4 Championship.
He was.
Which
he did really well.
Is a fantastic
reigning champion.
Well, it's a fantastic advertisement for Formula Ford, which has got strong 20-plus car fields in the Premier Open Wheel category in Australia.
20-plus, you say?
Unlike Formula 4, which have 4.
Yes, that's another topic. Anyway, Hunter doing a fantastic job over there. I keep tabs with him on his dad's Facebook page, and he had another win there on the weekend. And if he can win the championship over there, I believe there's a scholarship on offer in the Indy Lights next year. So
that's good.
Fantastic road to Indy, I think they call it in America, where they really have that clear path to race in Indy.
And plenty of K1s over there to offer him advice as well.
Exactly right. So, we're all rooting for him. That's really fantastic to see him going well.
What else is going on in question land there, Gerald? Anything?
Gerald's in charge of the questions.
Yeah. Someone said, Dave Harding said when John Force was on, who let Gary Busey out.
Looks like that, doesn't it?
Jim Walton, 4-time Australian Nationals funny car champion. Says plenty of variety in the show, boys. Great show and everyone involved. Thank you. Thanks, Jim. James Henderson. Lachlan Mansell.
Lucky.
Serious question. Hello, Lachlan. What are you hearing about the Supercars calendar for 2019? Wouldn't you like to know, Lachlan?
We're hearing there will be one. As JP said earlier, we were expecting one September-ish, but I don't know how the movement of Sandown out of the calendar will affect that, but we'll have to wait and see. But there are suggestions that there might be a couple of changes of venues.
Well, the things that I've read and heard, which are very unofficial, but sounds like there's a couple of races probably getting scrapped. The 500k enduro race probably going to end up at the Bend Motorsport Park, and Sandown will keep its spot in November and probably just be a single driver race consisting of probably a race on Saturday and a race Sunday, but that's very unofficial.
Retro round, what are you doing?
I actually don't know. I believe we are doing
Is there a
something.
retro round?
Yeah,
Well, I think it's the retro round.
Sandown.
Is
Sandown,
it?
still retro round.
Okay.
So,
I'm hearing there might be retro elsewhere.
You just go to your wardrobe. There'll be plenty of retro stuff in there, Gerald.
Yeah. Well, we've got really cool
T-shirt. They're available for
absolutely off the website.
Sale off the Perkins Engineering website. Jack, do you prefer the VF over the ZB?
No, the ZB is a bit more refined. That being said, I haven't back-to-backed a Walkinshaw VF and a Walkinshaw ZB. I'm driving a 888 VF for Eagleston Motorsport in the development series, a Dunlop Super 2, and then a Walkinshaw ZB. So it's probably not a fair back-to-back, but to be honest, one of the ZBs was a VF before that. So they are pretty similar under the skin, but I think the ZB is a bit more refined.
And I think isn't the Kostecki wildcard, that's going to be a VF updated to ZB.
Yes.
Speaking of wildcards, there's a bit of a suggestion there's going to be another one, possibly in black and silver at Bathurst.
Is that a scoop? Wildcard.
Can't say too much.
Did I remember Motorsport News? I think I wrote the front cover story of...
I don't remember you writing any front cover stories. Go on.
I did. Team Kiwi coming into supercars with Holdens.
What made you think of that? Why would you suddenly bring... Oh, yeah, I know.
So possibly... I mean, where would you... You know, if you're from New Zealand, where would you want to get a ZB Commodore from? Maybe on the Murray?
No. Well, that would be borderline, wouldn't it? See what I've done there?
Yeah.
And
am I reading between the lines here that Team Kiwi's back?
No. No one ever said that. Jack, you will never make a journalist. We never actually said that.
Okay.
And if you want to talk about wildcards, what's happening in Clayton? Americans?
I'm not sure. Again, a bit like my calendar information, I don't know of any official wildcards, but it would be cool to see.
Yeah.
If we had the opportunity to grab some Andretti and or United Autosports drivers, there's some pretty cool guys on the register. So if they can make it happen, I think it'd be cool for us as a team to be teammates with some guys there, and great for the sport. So hopefully, but I don't know of anything happening.
And Michael Andretti has said in the past, even to the easy, is that Marco would be very keen on doing it. So look, if it was to happen, but at the moment we're looking at one confirmed wildcard, the Kosteckis, one maybe we just mentioned. And that'd be great. It would be fantastic.
Wouldn't be the first time an Andretti on the mountain.
No, wouldn't be. John Andretti
now
fighting a battle against cancer, and we wish him all the best.
The winner of the first winner of the Surfers Paradise IndyCar Grand Prix. I had dinner with him the night before he won. Actually, and him and Jim Hall from Chaparral.
Yeah.
Had dinner with him the night before, and John Andretti went on to drive a Top Fuel Dragster for Jack Clark. With the Taco Bell car.
Is he the only man to win NHRA, NASCAR, and IndyCar?
Did he win? I'm not sure he won. He went 299 mile an hour when they were all trying to break into the 300s. I know that, and he didn't drive for too long, but he did a great drive and was a lovely guy. Here's some sad news from Morris Allen, pro stock motorcycle racer. GMAC, just to let you know, Mrs. Mussett, who was 104 years old, passed away this week. She was the wife of Frank Mussett, who was the first Australian to ever race at the Isle of Man in 1934.
Frank Mussett motorcycles for a long time.
39.
In Elizabeth Street.
Yes.
Oh, that is.
So that's very sad.
So Mrs. Mussett sadly passed away this week, and 104 years old. Not a bad innings. Not quite as good as Steve Smith at 144, but
and speaking of which,
excellent.
Last month at the age of 90, Maury Quincy passed away, the legendary motorcycle racer.
Did he?
Yeah. There's a very good story in next week's motorcycle news. If you want.
Okay, that's sad.
Father of Ray Quincy, of course, who was a very good racer.
Blackwell's Holden in New Zealand, Christchurch, sells ZBs. Well, there's not many Holden dealers sell ZBs, I can tell you that.
What,
but,
you mean they have ZBs or they sell ZBs?
Michael Curtis says, is Bridie retired now from supercars? It looks like he's...
not intentionally, I don't think.
No, but...
Neither did Russell.
No, but it looks as though he's enjoying himself in the TCR series.
And by the way,
two cars.
We sometimes give Russell and the dude a little bit of stick on this show. That was a pretty solid performance there from the young bloke up there in Queensland Racing, Russell Engel. I mean,
yeah,
that was a good, very very good comeback to the wheel. Good to see. Castrol must be very
did not have the opportunity, Rob. I know you've got it teed up, but had Russell gone off the track on cold tyres. What would the excuse have been, Robbie?
Young bloke, cold tyres, fucked it up.
Who was that guy?
One of the classics of all time.
Were you about 8?
Yeah, I wouldn't have been very old. That's good, isn't it? That was a good documentary.
Doco, it was terrific.
Great.
It was
really good.
We need to pay you a royalty every time we play that. You're going to be rich.
That was towards our mate Nathan Pretty.
Yes.
Yeah. No. What's his name? Oh, yeah, Nathan.
Let's
not revisit that.
Dave Harding, WPS coming back. Oh, I don't think so. Or David Thexton.
Don't think so.
Oh.
Thexton. Oh, yeah, well.
Maybe.
David Thexton. No.
That looks like we've had lots of questions.
Good.
And
pleased.
Right across, we've had lots of good viewing tonight as well.
Did we have our ladies from Indiana? Were they logged in?
Didn't see the name.
They'll probably catch us up on the recording.
But have certainly in the past.
Good. We're done.
Jackson, thank you, mate, for coming in. It's been good.
Guys, thanks for having me on.
Something different.
It would be only fitting if I gave you guys a little present.
What? Oh, this is good.
Maybe something small.
No.
Remember the Milky Bars are on me.
Oh, no.
So I was able to dig up a few old ones from when I did that commercial, so the white chocolate's definitely still white. The Milky Bars are on me, boys. Thanks for having me on.
Mate, we've loved it. Next time, rather than you being on a health kick, we'll get you in when you've won Bathurst in 8-10 weeks' time.
Used by August 1991.
Yes, that's the first run.
Are these LPs, are they?
They're actually not even chocolates.
Mate.
Fantastic.
That's been good fun. Thank you very much.
We'll get you on after you win Bathurst with JC. Actually, we might even get him to call in the next time. Oh, Matt Campbell won the GTD class at Road America as well.
He did.
So he's doing a great job. Thanks for that, Darren and Mandy, or Darren Mandy. He did. Matt Campbell, Ryan Briscoe. Good results there for the Aussies on the weekend at IMSA. And that's about it. Our next show is going to be, which is episode 9, will be the 21st of August in 2 weeks' time. And we thank you for your company. We hope you've enjoyed it. We think it's been a reasonable one. We've gone a bit longer than normal, but we love your interaction.
His fault.
And we loved having Jack here. And Phil?
See you next time. Thanks, Jackson.
Thanks,
See you,
guys.
mate.